So you've taken some important steps in planning. So why do you still feel uneasy? Maybe you've created a will. Maybe you've met with an attorney. Maybe you've worked with a financial advisor and bought insurance, opened up different accounts, or started learning about government benefits. You've done what people have told you to do. You've checked some of the important boxes. And yet somewhere in the back of your mind, you're still wondering, will any of this work when my family needs it? And if that's where you are, I want you to know something. That uneasy feeling doesn't necessarily mean that you've failed to plan. It often means you have pieces of a plan, but no one's helped you make sure that those pieces actually work together. And that's a very different problem. And it's one of the things that we see all the time at Enable. I've worked in the planning industry for nearly 2 decades, serving families with loved ones with special needs. And one of the most common things parents ask me is, we've been trying to plan for years. Why do I still feel like it isn't enough? It's not that they haven't done anything yet. They've often done a series of individual things. They've met with attorneys. They've talked with financial professionals. They've applied for government benefits. They've named people in their legal documents. They've thought about future housing and caregiving options, but each piece was handled separately. Different professionals, different conversations, different points in time. And no one ever stepped back with a family and asked, do all of these pieces of your family's plan actually connect? And that's the difference between having documents and having a coordinated special needs plan. Growing up with my sister, Sarah, I watched my parents do a lot of meaningful planning. They worked with the school. They worked with doctors. They worked with service providers, attorneys, financial professionals, and all the government systems. They were responsible parents. They were taking action. But like so many families, they were still expected to become the general contractor of the entire plan. They had to gather advice from different professionals, understand complicated systems, make major decisions, and somehow figure out whether all of those recommendations fit together. No one professional was really holding the full picture or helping them see it clearly. And that's still what a lot of families experience today. You may have a great attorney. You may have a great financial advisor or a great benefits specialist or a good care provider. And they may each be doing excellent work within their own area of expertise. But if they're not working together and no one is helping you connect the legal and the financial and the benefits and the caregiving and the communication and the future support pieces, your family's future can still feel uncertain. Every individual piece is very useful, but useful pieces do not automatically create a usable plan. So think of it like this. There's a drawer in your kitchen where things accumulated. I don't know about you, but we call it our junk drawer. Most of us have one. I'm not too proud to admit that. There may be batteries in there, tape, a screwdriver, scissors, a few keys, a charger that probably belongs to something else outdated. And all those items, most of them might be useful. Some of them may be exactly what you need. But because everything has been put into this drawer at different times, you may not really know what's there. And it's unlikely you know what's missing. The batteries may no longer work. And when you actually need that one specific thing, you may not be able to find it, right? A lot of special needs plans look like that. There are important pieces in place, maybe even very good pieces, but they were created at different times for different reasons by different people. And no one has stepped back to organize this drawer. No one's checked whether the two pieces contradict each other. No one's confirmed whether a responsibility has been assigned to somebody who actually understands it. No one's made sure the financial resources support the future your family wants. No one's asked whether your family's financial plan, legal plan, and future caregiving plan can all function together. So parents are left thinking, we know what we've done. We've done some things. We're just not sure that we have a plan. And that feeling, it's often very accurate. And it's discouraging, I realize. Having an estate plan is not the same thing as having a complete special needs plan. Having a special needs trust is not the same thing as knowing how that trust will be funded, how it will be managed, and how it will be used. Naming a guardian or a trustee is not the same thing as preparing that person to step in. Buying life insurance is not the same thing as knowing whether the money will go to the right place and support the right goals. Receiving government benefits is not the same as having a long-term strategy for maintaining them. And having caregiving responsibilities and caring relatives is not the same as having a future support team that understands who's responsible for what. Those are all important steps. But the steps needed are the steps that connect. Let me show you how this can actually happen by telling you about a pattern that we see often in different forms over and over and over. So a parent jumps on Zoom session with me and says, we already have an estate plan. And that's great. They have a will. Maybe they have a special needs trust. They've named a relative who supported their child in the past to supposed to step into the future. They bought life insurance. They have different financial accounts. Their loved one receives benefits currently. On paper, it sounds like a lot is in place. But then I start asking questions. Does the person named in the document actually know that they were named? Do they understand what the role involves? Does the trustee know how money is intended to support the loved one's life? Does the family know who handles the benefits? Is the life insurance coordinated with the trust? Does anyone know where the documents are? Does somebody understand the loved one's routines and preferences, the relationships, the communication, the support needs? That list goes on and on. Who is supposed to monitor caregivers or different residential services in the future? Who will notice if the plan is no longer working? And very quickly, the parents that I'm talking to realize we have pieces, but we haven't really connected them. That doesn't mean the attorney did a bad job. It doesn't mean the financial advisor failed, but it does mean the family needs to focus on connecting these pieces. It means each professional may have been asked to solve one small part of a much larger problem. The attorney created the legal documents they were hired to create. The financial professional suggested some strategies. The benefits specialist helped with eligibility rules. The care provider focused on today's support needs. So each person may be doing exactly what they were hired to do, but the family still is the one that's trying to understand how all of it fits together. And if it all holds together in the future when it really matters. So that's where the anxiety comes from. Because you know deep down that your family's plan won't be tested while you're here managing it. You're the person filling the gaps right now. You're the one making the phone calls. You're the one explaining the history. You're the one catching mistakes. You're the one that knows that one professional's recommendation doesn't quite fit with something another professional said. You're the one holding the whole picture in your head. And as long as you're here, and you're involved and you're able to keep everything moving, the plan may appear to work. But the real question is, will it still work when you're no longer the person holding it together? That's why coordination matters so much. A coordinated special needs plan doesn't just ask, do we have a financial plan? It asks, does our financial plan support the life that we want for our entire family, including our loved one with special needs, now and in the future? It doesn't just ask, do you have a special needs trust? It asks, who will manage it? How will it be funded? How should the money be supported for your loved one's life without unintentionally harming benefits? It doesn't just ask, did you name a guardian and trustee? But it asks, does everyone understand their roles, agree to them, know who else will be part of the team? It doesn't just ask, does your loved one receive benefits in the right way? It asks, who will monitor these benefits, handle renewals, report changes, and respond when something goes wrong? It doesn't just ask, does somebody know your child? It asks, has the information that currently lives in your head been organized and shared in a way that somebody else could actually use? That's a much bigger picture. And no, it doesn't mean every family needs a giant binder with every possible detail written down. It means that the right people need access to the right information. They need to understand their responsibilities. They need to know who else is involved. And the different parts of a plan need to support the same overall direction. At ENABLE, we often talk about building the plan around the life that you want for your entire family, especially your loved one. That's important because the legal plan, the financial plan, the benefits plan, the caregiving plan, the future support team, those things should not be all moving in different directions. They should be serving the same person, the same family, the same vision for the future. So if your legal documents assume one person will take responsibility, but that person doesn't quite understand what that means, there's a gap. If the financial plan creates resources, but no one knows how those resources should be used, there's a gap. If your loved one has government benefits, but no person or no one is prepared to manage renewals or reporting, that's a gap right there. If the people named in your documents don't understand your loved one's daily life, their goals, their preferences, so much more, there's another gap. Everything is stored in different places and no one knows what exists, there's another gap. Again, those gaps don't mean that you've failed. They simply show that creating the pieces and coordinating the pieces are two different jobs. And most families have never had anyone help them with the second one. That's why you still may feel uneasy, even after taking meaningful action. Your instincts may be telling you, I've tried to plan, but I'm not confident someone else could carry it forward. That's worth paying attention to. Not so you can panic, not so that you can throw everything away that you've done and start over, and not so you can spend the next 6 months trying to diagnose every possible problem by yourself. You just need a clear view of what's already in place, what might still be missing, and where the different pieces that you've already completed need more coordination. And that's why we created the ENABLE Snapshot. The snapshot is a short tool designed to help you reflect on the current state of your family's special needs planning. It asks about the major areas that might affect the future of your loved one. It can help you recognize areas where you've already made progress and areas that may deserve more attention. It's not legal opinion. It's not a financial diagnosis. It's not going to hand you a complete plan in 5 minutes. But it can give you a clear place to start. And that's something that's exactly what some families need. Because the next step is not always doing more. Sometimes the next step is understanding what you've already done and whether it all works together. So if you've been wondering, we've been planning for years, why do I still feel worried? The answer may be that your family doesn't need another isolated recommendation. You may need somebody to help you see the full picture, to identify those gaps, to connect the people and the professionals, to make sure that the legal, the financial, the benefits, the caregiving, the communication, and the support pieces are all working towards the same goal. Having pieces of a special needs plan is a meaningful start. But the peace of mind that you're looking for usually comes from knowing that those pieces are connected, understood, and usable. That's what turns planning into an actual plan. And so you can take the free ENABLE Snapshot using the link below in the video. It takes you about 5 minutes, and it can help you get a clear sense of where your family is now and what needs to be done in the future. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever felt like you've done a lot of the planning, but you still aren't sure whether it all works together? And if this video is helpful, subscribe to our channel. We're here to keep sharing practical guidance to help you build a clear, more coordinated plan for your loved one's future. I'll see you in the next video.